Hello, welcome back to another episode of the BJ Show. Welcome back. It is the 28th episode, the BJ Show Footy Show, known for Aussie Footy Show or vice versa. Look, let's get straight and welcome Aiden. Welcome again to the show.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to this finals right on the horizon as well. So we'll see who gets into the top 8 this week.
Yeah, so let's get on with the show. So, look, what a year footy. And I really think, yes, we had 24 rounds of football and 10 games in one, which will be interesting to share with the previews with the Strains name was one game with Gold Coast Essendon due to the opening round. But we got so much more than ever, got so much to share. But before we get on with the show today, Aiden, what do you think about the footy season?
I think it's been an interesting season. I think that a lot of teams who, were expected to do well did well. I think that this year we had a odd season where I think, there were probably 13 or 14 teams out of the 18 who realistically thought they could get into finals. And it's really come down to those games that played each other. So I'm talking about, the teams currently in the top 8. You've got Gold Coast sitting outside. They've got the catch-up game. I think Sydney pre-season, early injuries, I think that put them off a little bit, but they still thought they had a shot come back into the year. Carlton definitely should have been around. So there's been a lot of teams who are going to be disappointed. There's actually probably going to be 5 teams who are probably sitting at home in September thinking, why couldn't it have been us playing on the first weekends in September to try and get a shot at the finals? But it as a year, it's been great as well, just seeing like a great new emergence of talent across the league. Like Adelaide, 15th to first, minor premierships locked in now. Get onto that as well. Young players coming through all across all the clubs. Richmond, they've got 7 players at the top 25 last year. They've all played a good role. Western Bulldogs have blood some young guys. Geelong seems to always get the young guys through. And around the league as well, other teams are doing the same. I think they're starting to look at the Geelong pattern and the Collingwood pattern and be able to just see that the best way forward for these young guys is bring them in slowly and look at what's happening at Geelong. Like Ollie Dempsey, Guthrie, Cam Guthrie, Liam Guthrie, Max Holmes. Like these are guys who Geelong stashed for a long time and then brought up to AFL when they're ready. Like even the top picks in the AFL, right? They're not coming out as like the top 5 are probably as developed as they used to be, but I think beyond that, I think definitely when you get past 10, that it's the Geelong method of stashing them if possible has just proved really effective this year.
Yeah, so for really, I think overall, like upset teams for the year was the St Kilda one. I think that's the one. I think it's just amazing. One by come back from 46 points down. Look, I think overall teams have been challenged. Like look at Richmond this year, especially with Richmond and then West Coast, vice versa. Like Richmond have shown what they in the game and they're almost like, unfortunately, they've been challenged in huge ways. And I think the game has really gave me credit. It's losing 6 goals against a good team in Collingwood. And I think when you lose by 6 goals against a top 4 side, it's just incredible. So I'm going to give every credit to Richmond and that with North Melbourne. Like when the game against Adelaide Crows, they were actually in that contest. They actually never got smashed. It's always between those 2 teams at Marble or Telstra Dome or Etihad, whether in that history you may not get a big foul, but if the crowd's loud enough, you get a high scoring, and it's always been like that for so long. But credit with the mother team in mind. Look, in fact, that with West Coast not struggled, it's been a big shock this year, and there's been the culture and there's so much in the behind it's that a co-captain's no longer going to be the co-captain that West Coast will share another time. Hopefully, we have time today, but shows me that West Coast just got to find a way. They are proud of Rich in the AFL for such a long time, and I think the coach at West Coast and the crew there, they're doing their best. They're doing their job as they usually do, but they need to find something a bit better, and hopefully they'll get some talent. So, and before we get on with the main show, is like Carlton and Essendon. Look, injuries just come through, and it happens. But I think the only thing that yes, Essendon and Gold Coast take on each other. Gold Coast can actually look, if they don't get the job done and they lose by less than 5 goals, that Gold Coast will finish 8th. And then that's what I think that more likely will happen. But overall, like that top 8, I would love to see Gold Coast in that top 8. I just want to see them playing final. Good for Damien Hardwork. Since his second year or first year coaching Gold Coast, it proves me that he has done his part of bringing some talent, couple from Richmond, all over, to come and play for the Gold Coast, and it worked for him. And unfortunately, talent goes down, and it happens, you know. But anyway, and the top 4, what a top 4 we've got happening, right? I did not see Adelaide in, congratulations for them, but I did not see them in my top 4 at all. Not a lot. I put them 7th early in the year. Now I put them top in my first place, and I won that. So anyway, moving on. Let's get on with great thoughts and my thoughts of it's all done. And I think it was a long season, quite honest with you, but season's done, and 8 games, or 8 teams, 4 games. We can say we've got the 2 qualification finals. The top, for 1 and 2, we'll share that a bit later down the track, but today's show, Aiden and BJ will share the final round, the major final round, round 24, the 2025 AFL Premiership season. And what reviews and finals ahead we have. We'll now start the 2025 BJ will show. Well, I can't wait. And Aiden, there's going to be surprises. We'll share this at the end as well. But stay tuned with fun action for that. But all right, I'll start off, and then Aiden will let you take over from that. So, finish off Thursday night football, MCG. Look, Carlton and Essendon's final home game. Carlton really both love playing at the MCG, and I really to finish off the season with, like I said, Essendon versus Carlton. Well done to Carlton. 13-12-90, 8-8-56. The crowd attendance was 41,150. You didn't expect to have a big packed house. But if this was played at Marble Stadium, you'll have that crowd. And believe me, they'll be sold out at Marble. But MCG, it's all right, crowd. You're both having fun with their teammates for the final time this season, and with a good crowd, with the crowd for Thursday night footy. Well done to Carlton, like I said, finishing with the win and strong win. Essendon, Ballack, all the efforts. Not the season you wanted with all those lucky injuries as well, Carlton, but all the best against Gold Coast at People's First Stadium for Wednesday night footy due to the opening round. So, all the best for the off-season, journey of Carlton and Essendon. All the best. Let's go and do your best. Take on Gold Coast and bring that great pressure. And we'll see Carlton 2026. Final play of the game for 2025, round 24. It's Francis Evans now from Carlton forward, include 19 disposals, 5 marks, 5 tackles, 3 goals, 104 AFL intensity, 28 defensive half, 72% half, 1 goal assist, 12 score involvement, and 2 clearances. Well done to Francis Evans from the Carlton Blues forward. Aiden, we'll let you share Carlton and Essendon.
Yeah, thank you. This game sort of was just another episode of what's not to put on Thursday night. I think that, obviously with the Gold Coast game being cancelled in the opening round, having to push this one out to here, I think, there were other ways it could have been done. But this game, as it was very one-sided from the start. I think that Essendon, they want their season to end. They've got one more game to play against Gold Coast, but then they'll be able to, get off back home and chill out over the off-season and really just pick up the pieces of what's been a really disappointing year. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, Essendon were a team who started to look like they were on the improve, started to make moves to say we're a club on the up, and the injuries, whatever, they've just gone backwards. And it's not just through who's not available; it's also been through who's available and who's doing what on the field. I mean, Zach Merritt can't do the job himself. He's doing everything for the club himself the last 24 games. He can't do the job himself. I mean, you got players there who should be able to do stuff, but it's just not. It's just not clicked for them at all this year. Carlton, I could probably say the same about Carlton. Like, they've had injuries, but not as many as Essendon, not as big as Essendon, but there's still injuries to key players as well. And especially a team like Carlton, I think the key players definitely more magnified than Essendon. So when they get them back, they're just so much better side. Even with Harry McKay only kicking 1 goal 4 on the day, that's fine. You're not going to be playing finals either, Carlton. So that's the result you can live with. The big win here, just to finish off the year, close out. Well done to both of these teams for getting through this season, Ben. As you said, Francis Evans clearly best on ground on the night.
Yeah, wow. Double Friday night header. Now, I think you may said this, you don't like Friday night. I actually don't like it. I think it's too much, but sometimes now we've introduced. That's the first time this year had a couple Friday double headers, and I really think, in my opinion, the best 2 Friday night footies for the year, and it's the last round. Like, yes, one team may not play finals and will celebrate this game, even the first game at the MCG, which is Collingwood and Melbourne. Then Friday night footy I think it was the hottest ticket in town. Even it's not, it feels like finals action for Port Adelaide and Gold Coast Suns. So, look, Aidan, I'll let you share the Collingwood and Melbourne.
All right, thank you. We'll get on to Collingwood and Melbourne. And I mean, as a Friday night game goes, and I know that this round was modelled around just because of the scheduling conflicts, as I said, with the Thursday game. But this was the original Friday night game here, Collingwood and Melbourne. And this is, one of those games that, I just love because it is two of the big boys going at it. I mean, Melbourne's not where they want to be this year. They're one of those teams who I think I got put on that list of disappointed to miss out on the 8. Collingwood definitely probably disappointed they don't get the minor premiership, but still in the 4. And I think that's a testament to their ability to play football and just fight through. There were times in this game where Melbourne all over the Melbourne fought them back quite well. So even the first quarter here, Collingwood kicked 2-7 to Melbourne 3. So Collingwood 9 scoring shots in the first quarter, 9 registered scores in the first quarter, and they're only up by a point. This game should have been well over. This game should have been well over at quarter time. But then, Melbourne, keep fighting. 4 goals second quarter to Collingwood, 2 goals to Melbourne. Then the big swing goes to Melbourne. Collingwood 1 goal in the third. Melbourne 5 in the third quarter for them. And then in the last, Collingwood get 4 back. Melbourne only add 1, and it ends Collingwood winning 11-16-82. Melbourne 11-10-76. So it was those points in the first quarter that were what got Collingwood over the line. This absolute cracking game. This was, if you want a nail-biting game of football, score may not have been ridiculously high. Collingwood's goal accuracy may not have been ridiculously high. Melbourne's realistically wasn't that great either. But for a midfield contest, this was what you want. This is exactly what you want in a midfield contest of football. You've got, two of the bigger teams in the history of the sport going at it. Probably the biggest rivals in the history of the sport going at it. And, they put on this. This is exactly what you want to be watching on a Friday night. This is get the kid, sit in front of the TV and watch the footy kind of stuff. This is how you show the next generation what footy is all about. And I just want to give a big applause to both Collingwood and Melbourne for this game because that is primetime Friday night footy. And I'm not going to give a player of the game. I'm going to give just everyone on the park player of the game because that performance, okay, it wasn't the greatest performance in terms of score, but for what the game brought up, it was excellent. So everyone's getting player of the game from me for this one.
Okay. Hold your thought for the Port Adelaide and Gold Coast. And look, First up, yeah, I have decided I have got to play out the game, but I'm thinking scrapping that, but I may as well just add it in. So, yeah, no, look, 60,000 plus 611. Collingwood, your top four side. I'm saying this right now. Melbourne deserve this win. Why win, Aiden? It's Melbourne with more accuracy of want this upset Collingwood's performance. Yes, well done to Collingwood, 11 sing 82 to 11 10 76. 6 minutes. That's it. And I was so happy if Collingwood actually lose this game, but they didn't. They're in the top four. Congratulations, Melbourne. Great fight. Since Simon Goodwin not taking head coach, the care given of the coach has absolutely changed Melbourne's pressure, and it's worked. That's what happened when you change coaching, and somehow it worked. So I think this was definitely one of the games of the round. Maybe not the game of the round, because games are just so close, and this is why I love these two. Why I've chosen these two are the best Friday nights. As Aidan said, put your kids, get your family friends to watch a game of football, and the best two rivals in this amazing sport and Australian sport. So, kicking, bad, scoring, we all know that. Like I said, well done to Collingwood. Melbourne, all great, bad luck efforts. It's be proud of what you did on your last game against Collingwood MCG in front of 60,000 plus at 611 at the MCG. Melbourne wants to finish strong, and I think almost turn an upset and really Collingwood on the steam of all to not play top four, and Collingwood hold on with it. Yes, 6 points means nothing, and they know, but all well, great effort by Collingwood. Melbourne leading to win this game, then Collingwood were just a little bit better, but not great, but just better. So I have gave Jack Chris from Collingwood including 18 disposals, 6 marks, 7 tackles, 1 goal, 90 AFL fantasy, 53 defence, 47% forward half, 3 scoring involvements, 5 clearances, bounce attenders, and 3 clearances. So well done to Jack Chris. Look, like I said, everyone deserves the best on ground. It was really a hard choice, and I'll head into this one now. This is more than a game of the round, but the farewell from a coach being at Port Adelaide for 12, 13 years. For a fella has come and played for Adelaide, Gold Coast, and Port Adelaide, and one club player from Geelong. I've spoken this so many times. We had the Adelaide Oval for Port Adelaide, take on Gold Coast. Port Adelaide, wow. Before I get to the main parts, I also did say these two games were the game of the round, but I would really like congratulations to Port Adelaide's former captain and almost legend, Travis Boake. Now, for a fantastic footy career. Maybe not a apprenticeship, but finals attendance is huge in your career. You're there for around the time you got drafted the year before Port Adelaide made the grand final. So I'd be proud of that. I would like to just mention Roy Atkins on a great career at the three clubs he played for, Adelaide Crows, Gold Coast Suns, and Port Adelaide. Two coaches also departing. It's Jack Horns, a legend at Port Adelaide, and the also Kent Hingley. So for coaching at Port Adelaide, the most time I think, and if this is correct, Aidan, 12 or 13 around that time, the most longest coach in the AFL team. And that no one has that ever in this footy competition. So, he played for Geelong and played for Fitzroy, and he football guy that's red. And stay tuned for all of that later down the track at a different time. But now, time for my thoughts. Yes, the game of the round. Well done, Port Adelaide. Finishing off with a season big win. Yes, not the season you wanted, but I forgot to let you all know. Congratulations to Colin Rosie. They didn't really mention him too much. I think Colin Rosie, as the captain, didn't want to make this in a big way, but 150th, that's incredible achievement. And you're halfway to a 300, mate. You are a true owner of being captain, and all the best in the off season. With 40,897, farewell to a legend and a mother good player of all outcomes, and Ken Hingley. Gold Coast, wow. I think I'm going to be really heading over Aiden here, and I think Aiden.
I'm going to take my headphones off quickly, eh?
No worries. Now, history's not making in the making. That sounds like Port Adelaide. Gold Coast, wow. You need to trust each other. You're getting heated against a team that's not even playing finals. And I tip you. You can't push someone into the crowd and get away with a free kick. Ali, I forgot his name. He's the key defender from Port Adelaide. And if you know the name, Aiden, hopefully you can share that, mate. But you can't be stupid things on the footy field. And that's been harsh. And the commentary actually said that is done. You can pour back. He's a main. He kicked the goal for Port Adelaide, one since before he had over to Allenton from Port Adelaide. But look, you got to wake up. You're back at home. You can't screw up again. Well, you can't mess around against Essendon, because Essendon did well against St Kilda at Marble. So they can come to you with maybe the weakest team on the planet and actually can win the game. So Brad Scott, be prepared, because you earn a win on the Gold Coast and upset a team to play finals. They've got a great list at Gold Coast, but yes, you have injuries at time to time. But look, it's a great crowd for this game. Yes, no finals for Port Adelaide. We'll wow that, but the win is a win. And to finish off, Gold Coast, you need to win this to keep yourself in the top 8. And now there's change. And boy, what a round this was, especially the Sunday footies game. But Gold Coast need to win and finish nicely against Essendon. But we don't know what can happen. It could be wet, it can be dry. Gold Coast is not a fan on the Gold Coast when it's wet, especially against Freo. And can they do well? And 15 years later in history, I think they can play finals. Now they've got the opening to win this game. I think they should be all right. Well, slow start, Port Adelaide on different levels, and it worked out. I would also like to, like I mentioned, congratulations to Colin Rosie on his 150 game. Great achievement. Zach Butters is my player of the game, including 35 disposals, 8 marks, 8 tackles, 152 AFL intensity, 82 defensive half, 18 forward half, 6 score involvement, 564 metres game, 17 bounce attenders, and 5 clearances. Well done on your game performance, Zach Butters from Port Adelaide midfield. Aiden, take it away.
Okay, I'll just quickly put my headphones back on. I'm not going to go up at anyone over this game.
I'm going to take my headphones off. I'm going to get some water.
All right. Yeah. This game again, Friday night football. This is what it's meant to be. This is what I grew up on. Was close, tough, gritty games of football that you didn't know who was winning until the end. And I think the AFL's missed that part about Friday night football and now Thursday night football as well, as we don't want to see, Geelong and Collingwood beating the life out of poor, lifeless North Melbourne and poor, lifeless West Coast and so forth. We want to see proper on, gritty games of football that are going to be played to the end, where both teams who are playing are real giving it a fight, because that's what, this is what my generation grew up in, and Ben, you were the same. That's what you grew up on as well. I know that. So I think this is where the AFL needs to realise that, it's not about putting big teams out front. It's about putting close matchups on and giving us that, because that's what's going to get people to watch the TV. Because I'm not going to watch Geelong versus North Melbourne and have Geelong just beat the living shit out of them for 3 hours. That's not fun. I gain nothing from that. This Friday night was what I want to see every Friday night, except for the 2 games part. Just have one on the Thursday, one on the Friday. But you see where I'm getting with it. Now, let's get on to this game. Port Adelaide, 10-11-71, defeated the Gold Coast Suns, 9-13-67. Port Adelaide are your winners here by 4 points in a very, very up and down game. Port Adelaide, very, very strong early surge through the middle of the first quarter. Gold Coast, though, coming out on top. In the back end, it finishes 2 goals to the Power, 3 goals, 6 to Gold Coast. So basically 4 goal to Gold Coast, but that's 3-6 again. 9 scoring shots. We saw that in the other game, like Collingwood. 9 scoring shots in the first quarter. This game should be over. It's not. Port Adelaide, 2 more goals in the second. Gold Coast, another 3 in the second for them. Now the game flips on its head. Port Adelaide, 4 goals in the third. Gold Coast, just the 1. Very similar trending lines these games are going on, if I don't say so myself. Can Port take the upset? Final quarter, Port Adelaide, 2 goals, 1 to get to that 10-11. Gold Coast, 2 goals, 3 to get 9-13. Port Adelaide, your winners, as I said, by 4 points. Now, this was not just any win for Port Adelaide. This was the biggest of wins. This was not just beating Gold Coast at home on Friday night. This was an emotional night. I know I was emotional because the one thing about life is that constants eventually change. One thing that I've had as a constant for near on 20 years is Travis Boake playing for Port Adelaide. 387 games for Travis Boake across 17 years. That is an absolutely outstanding achievement. I believe it's the club record as well. Ken Hinkley coached there for 13 years. Chad Corns has been there as a player, then as a coach. This is, one of those nights that's going to live in the folklore of Port Adelaide. And again, this is the stuff I talk about it with Port Adelaide. This is the stuff, the emotional, gritty stuff that Port love. And as much as I'm not the biggest fan of them, I love this attitude to football. Make it emotional. Be in the contest. Be in the game. Put your heart on your sleeve and go out there and do a job. And they do it for Boakey, they do it for Cam, they do it for Chad. Port Adelaide need to bring this same intensity next year. If they do, they could sneak into the bottom half of the top 8. They could sneak into 7th or 8th. But that is going to be one. And it's not a thing. It is my player of the game. Travis Boake is my player of the game. This one. So Boakey had 94 AFL fantasy, 22 touches, 10 kicks, 12 handballs, 3 tackles, 3 marks, and 9 tackles to round out his career. He was one tackle off, ending his career with a triple-double. And that is why he is my player of the game for this match.
Well said. And yeah, there is actually a few triple-doubles, if I'm misunderstood. But all right, Super Saturday Footy, and we continue on as well. Wow, it's the last time for Super Saturday football, and then we head to the last Sunday ticket for the last time. And it's mostly the first game's the North Melbourne and LA Crows. I will actually call that is in Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. Cross over the bridge, still in Melbourne at the MCG, Richmond and Geelong. And 3 games on schedule, which is really frustrating for me. But, there has to be a lot of improvement for Saturday Footy because I missed that 5-game series or even 4. They've done a lot of 4 games, and that's in Perth at Ox Stadium for the last time for West Coast and Sydney go head-to-head. And I thought this was quite good. But look, if that's all right, Aidan, I'll let you start off with the North Melbourne Adelaide game.
Yep, I will be right there. So, North and Adelaide, again, this was a game that, it's in the right time slot. It's the first game on Saturday. You don't really expect much out of North at this point of the year. Adelaide, minor premiers if they win this one. Adelaide get the job done, but it was a hard fight. All game long, it was a hard fight. First quarter, in this one, North 3 goals, Adelaide 4 goals. Second quarter, North 4 goals, Adelaide 5 goals. Third quarter, North 3 goals, Adelaide. Got to do some maths here. 7 goals. Sorry, 5 goals. 5 goals for Adelaide in that third quarter. And then the final quarter, North with 5, Adelaide with 3. So, it was never really a game that we put away. It was a game that was on all day long. This is how you end a season. North Melbourne they lose. That's fine. But you realise that you're playing the top team. You realise that you're playing an Adelaide team who are going to be looking over you into September. They have a man who is ineligible for some things that he said, but he, lives with that decision. The Crows move on. They move into North Melbourne. They get the win. They barely get a win, North Melbourne. probably unlucky to, not be able to get over the line and just not build the pressure that they needed to put the pressure on the Crows in that, that third quarter. If they had that third quarter again, I think North would have done a lot better effort. But it is Adelaide who win this one in the end. My player of the game for this game is from North Melbourne. Christian Cherry, 154 AFL fantasy, 25 touches, 12 kicks, 13 handballs, 3 marks, 12 tackles for the triple-double, and 35 hitouts.
Yeah, so look, Tristan Terry, if I've got that. Look, he was, I'm not going to tell you right now, he should be in the second ruckman for Australian. And I want to share that part because I think, yes, if he didn't got injured, not silly injured, but reported and suspension for those 3 silly games, he could be the best ruck of all time for North Melbourne for such a long time. And he's proven that I think Alison Clarkson would be so proud to have a genuinely best ruck. If he's not playing, North Melbourne struggled. So there is a big injury. But yes, we do well. Our first game, as Aidan shared, North Melbourne and Adelaide, and 17,494 for the last time North Melbourne's last home game at Marble Stadium. It was the lowest crowd for that, and unfortunately, a bit more than Tasmania. So, well effort to we'll share the final scoring, high scoring for Bill at Marble, saving 7-11, 113 to 15-10, 100, 13-point victory. So, high scoring, North Melbourne. Before we get Adelaide Crows, we know we're going to say a lot more than North Melbourne, I'm going to give more credit to North Melbourne and challenging the Adelaide Crows in awful quarters. The end of the season, with not having Nick Lucky in that side, I think that's incredible. They stepped up in different ways that Alison Clarkson put a smile on his face. He loved it every moment he was on the sideline and bringing his team together with that ball pressure. But moving on, well done, Adelaide, with the win and winning the minor 20 years, you're finishing top. So I'll give you, in 8 years, you're back on top once again, and 4 times in history, or 4 times. 20 years is making this happen. The Adelaide finished top, and West Coast was second in 2005 under Neil Craig. The ruckman, it's Dean Hock, actually played for West Coast. 20 years, he was the best ruck. Now look at North Melbourne's ruckman. 20 years, he's the best. And he's unfortunately not playing finals. But the proof what I'm saying for this game is Adelaide will challenge to the very end. That's what Ada mentioned, challenge. It's good to challenge the best teams because they make them really, it puts them, that good team, off in so many ways. Look, and LA needs to get into the grand final, but all the best. But we're not talking about that part. I think that's too early, and I do apologise saying that, and I do not know why. Look, it's a moment challenging for North Melbourne, and yes, they would challenge at times, but I think they challenged Adelaide Crows in so many ways. They did with West Coast, they did the same to Adelaide. There's teams do in really all right form and prove themselves to have a better season. All the best for the off season. My player of the game, really, Riley Philful. Now, they're big beasts from the LA Crows keep forward. You own my player of the game. 18 disposals. We have the thing that's included of 12 tackles, or 12 marks. 2 tackles, 3 goals, 128 for fantasy. We have 34 defensive halves, 66 forward halves, 2 goal assists, 11 goal involvement, and 484 metres game. Well done to Riley Pilfer from the LA Crows keep forward. All right, second game on the Super Saturday. Now I've got a little bit more, or maybe not as much, but I'll add a bit of touch to the second game, which is at MCG across from Marble. Richmond versus Geelong. I'll continue on and I'll let you share, Aiden. So 14-19, my goodness. You're going to come into finals and play this at that ground. The other team's going to overscore you in the best way. So final score, 14 goals, 19 18,103, 9,1064, with the crowd attendance 46,109, which I'm happy with that. And I mentioned that if it's 40,000 plus for Richmond's last home game, I will be happy. And it worked. Which I'm going to give credit to Richmond on, and I said this early in the very beginning of the show. Congratulations to Richmond, not playing finals. I'm not thinking of playing finals, but this rebuilding, it's maybe the exciting rebuilding. You have some challenges on the way. You're taking on the best teams on. Yes, you get smashed at one week and play good on the other week. When you play Western Sydney Giant away and then come back and absolutely being fresh, ready to go and have your best possible 22 or 23 for Richmond. I know a strong and better year. I'm saying that next year. I'm looking forward to another Richmond outfit out on the park in the right direction. All the best in the off-season. We'll see what Richmond will perform in 2026. Geelong, business as usual. As usual, well done on the matter win. Yes, scoring 100 plus points on your 103. Correction. Yes, we're kicking 14 goals. 9-10 at the MCG. Must be a windy day. Maybe a bit of rain, but fortunately, I think what game's due to playing footy. I'm on the way on back home from Kilburn. So wish all Geelong in the final series, and we'll share that very soon. Bailey Smith from Geelong, part of the game, 34 disposals, 3 marks, tackles, 108 for Anthony, 48% forward half, 52% forward half. We're in Clofine 94 metres game, 2 goal assists, 10 score involvements, 22 centre bounce attenders. Well done with 7 clearances. Well done to Bailey Smith from the Geelong midfielder. Aiden, take it away.
Yeah, thank you for that. This game again, right game for this time slot, and I'm going to start talking about this a bit over the off season as well. But Richmond for the year, I think that this is not a great way. I think they could have done it a little bit better, but I think they'll still be proud of their efforts. They only lost to Geelong by 39 points here, so final scores were Geelong winning 39 points, 14-19, 103 to 9-10, 64. So it was just little bits of game time that the Cats really just ran it out, especially in that run between the second and third quarters. They just ran it out. Richmond only had 2 goals in that time. Geelong added 7, including the 6 they had in the first. So it was 4 goals at quarter time, okay, but to keep it under 40 after only scoring 2 goals and having the other team kick 7 in 2 quarters on you, and not including points as well. There was a lot of points there for the Cats. It really just shows how far this Richmond team's come. They are now a team who are showing that they are liable for their weaknesses. They're showing that they are culpable for their mistakes. They're showing that they're willing to improve. They're willing to do the hard work. And what they're just missing is the AFL polish that the Cats have. And this will take time. It does take time for teams to get that polish. But they're going to have a lot of draft picks next future years as well. That'll help. They are pretty much going to be running a really young side because all of their premiership team are slowly going one by one. There's not a lot of them left at Tigerland. So for Richmond, I think it's a really it's a loss. I think it's as positive as it can get for an end of the season. For the Cats, I mean, can I say it? Geelong were just too damn sexy the other day. They really were. That run that I talked about for Richmond from the Geelong perspective, that is Geelong out of their finals, and this is what the teams who are in the 8 are got to watch out for. This Geelong saying that when they get a run on you, it is going to be very, very tough to stop. It is one of the toughest runs to stop in the AFL. Probably alongside Collingwood or the Orange Tsunami. They get the win here. They move on to finals. They're going to finish second, so they're going to have the other home qualifying final. Now they will play in that qualifying final against Brisbane, who finished 4th. So third. Sorry, they finished 3rd. Brisbane finished 3rd. Yes. So the qualifying finals: Adelaide versus Collingwood 1v4, Geelong v Brisbane 2v3. Unfortunately, though, Geelong still don't have a final at Geelong, because the AFL has once again asked them to play it at the MCG. Now, why? Moving off this game for a second, Geelong built the stadium, built the renovations to the stadium to have at least a final in Geelong. Why are they still going to Melbourne for the final. They earned the home ground advantage. And last time I checked, their home ground was Cardinia Park. So can the AFL please explain to me, and I don't want to hear it's about generating gate revenue or it's about ticket money or any of that rubbish. Geelong earned a home final, given one at Cardinia Park. Get it right. Now, my player of the game, Ben, as you said, Bailey Smith, absolutely outstanding performance from him. Controlled that tempo of that game really well. In and out touches for him again, working. He lost that form a little bit a couple of weeks ago, that in and out touches, but now he's got it back, and it seems to come back right at the right time before final. So if I've got to play Geelong, I am very worried.
At Optus Stadium for West Coast and Sydney Swans. This is the 20th anniversary of the grand final, and Sydney 18-10-118 defeated 7-9-51. So West Coast, I'm going to. All right, well done to Sydney with the win. Even not playing finals, the finish with the win on a strong notice, and all the best in the off-season. I would like to wish Sydney all the best, and I'm repeating myself, but, well, with Dean Cox, I don't know what to say with this legend. First-year coach, maybe not playing finals. It doesn't happen. It's very unusual play finals. And for Chris Scott to do in his first year, it's very unusual. And I think Dean Cox has got a lot to learn from this year. I give him that credit. Go to Perth. I don't know, he's originally from Perth, actually. So maybe he's from Melbourne or, maybe he's from Sydney and wants to coach at Sydney. And, I think it was struggling to find a really good person to take this role. And, he has a lot. He's got great players. He's got so much supporter base. But I can't say too much. Yes, he's had a lot of injuries through the year, but it happens. He's a coach that he'll learn the hard way than the easy way over a Chris Scott, because believe me or not, the grand finals will come to his name. But West Coast Eagles, exactly. You can't even win a. Oh yeah, settle down. Yes, that's it. Another season of really bad finish, 17-18. Aiden's absolutely loving it. Evan's not going to be recorded because I want to try and find why it's not working. But anyway, well, the finish of this season is being poor. You don't want players to be there, but your supporters of 30,029, it's all right at Optus. You had 45,000 came at West Coast. You've got a great supporter base, but you still need to be in the contest. You did well against Adelaide, but you can't even get Sydney, for goodness sake. You play well against a team that's going to be finishing top, but you can't beat Collingwood or, Carlton. These are the teams you get smacked. But when you play against Adelaide, you almost won. Then what happens? You get smashed, and I thought that confidence will come against Dogs and Marble. Nope, you got smashed. So I'm going to end this. Tom Pugley, congratulations, you're my part of the game for the final time. 27 disposals, 8 marks, 4 tackles, 131 aim for fantasy, 15% defensive half, 85% forward half, 13 score involvements, well done with 3 score assists with 28 metres gained, 10 centre bounce attendance and 2 clearances. Well done, Tom Huckley. Not maybe your year, mate, but for a forward you're a true champ. Okay, Aiden, take it away.
Okay, thank you. Before I even get into this game, we have breaking news. This is genuinely just coming through on my phone right now. Harley Reid is staying at West Coast. So you've won something there, West Coast. Congratulations, you've got Harley Reid. Don't know what you're going to do with him because you are still a laughingstock, but good on you. Let's get straight to this game. Now, it was this fixture where West Coast went beyond the laughingstock a couple of years ago when they played Sydney around this time of the year at the SCG and they lost by 171 points. And at three-quarter time, I was watching on my TV and I saw West Coast players talking rubbish when you were 134 points down. Those are the day that West Coast died against Sydney 2 years ago. You stopped being a joke. You've run out of excuses. You've run out of chances. you are now asking the AFL for a priority pick. This is how far West Coast has fallen. That they need to. The mighty West Coast has to go to the AFL for help. Who'd ever thought we'd see the day that this once proud club wanted a handout? Because I certainly never saw it coming in my lifetime. This game, though, there were some good points. Very good pressure in the first half from West Coast. First quarter, very good. Second quarter, very good as well. But you just let Sydney in at the vital moments, and that's what cost you the game in the first half. Because Sydney in the second half just rolled right over you because they knew you couldn't go with them again like that. You went balls to the wall in the first quarter, and then it just fell away. You've got to be able to sustain the pressure over the 4 quarters to get the win. That's what all the good sides do. That's what even all the average sides do. And the average teams don't even win half the time. You just go full on, let's just play 1 quarter and let's go on. Right. Good. Well done, West Coast. Sydney, disappointing year, just not in the contest across the ladder of the season. I just think that Sydney as a team, those injuries at the front end of the year, it threw them out for the season. But what I saw on Saturday night, they're going to be in 26. They're going to be right in the game in 2026 because the Sydney Swans are not going anywhere. They are going to be back. Dean Coates is going to walk that team to a premiership because they are there. When everyone is there, they are there. Just unfortunately not this year, but most likely they're going to be around the mark next year. So Sydney, don't worry, you are in the game. I player of the game for this one. I'm going to have to give to Errol Goulden from Sydney. 133 AFL fantasy, 2 goals, 36 touches, 21 kicks, 15 handballs, and 10 marks for, you guessed it, a triple-double.
Okay, so, wow, it's ended the last Saturday for the Premiership season. We've got 3 games to go for the Premiership season, with the Sunday ticket. Now, I think there's been some unusual time slots for the final game. 11:50 a.m. LA time, Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is 12:20. Which I think that's a better time slot than 11:50 a.m. Trying having to go and live in Perth, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning or 9:30, wherever it is. But 10:20, no. So I'm not focused on my time. Yeah, 10:20 a.m. If you're living in Perth, a morning, that's not brunch time or breakfast time if you're waking up that time. But look, first game is we're back return and maybe possible for a final spot. See this action at ENGI Stadium, Western Sydney, Great Western Sydney Giants and St Kilda Saints. Then we return back to Marble Stadium for the possible and overall last time to see this in footy action, which is the Western Bulldogs versus Fremantle Dockers. What a game that is. And I think that is definitely the upset of the round. And then we go to the gather for Sunday night. Look, before we get into it, and I meant to say Sex Geelong Cats is the mother part, but they lost their license for Thursday night football because no one's going to watch that game compared to the Brisbane and Hawthorn. And I'm thinking that's wrong, in my opinion. They should just kept it Thursday night and then save the day for, don't even play anything on Saturday night and then play, double back to back. You can pour on, mate. That's why we have a backup channel to watch this game. But look, the first game, fortunately, I didn't bring my notes together, but GWS Giants versus St Kilda. This is a really interesting factor to there's so much action to, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about this game, but a decent high scoring game, and it happens again. Well done to GWS Giants defeating the St Kilda Saints. And we know that team struggled and they proved themselves to be a better side. And give it all to St Kilda coming down by 15-14, 104 49-93. So game of this that St Kilda were in the game. Unfortunately, I've got technical difficulties with no notes in front of me, so I don't know who the player of the game, but that's all right. I'll share with. I've got my phone's not connecting. Aiden, can I just borrow your phone? Yeah, so I really think, look, I'm going to give it to credit to St Kilda going to really put the Giants out of reach to have maybe Western Bulldogs and unfortunately the draw won't really work with them. actually, if the Giants lost and Fremantle lost, Western Bulldogs win, that actually GWS actually gets out of the finals if that's correction in my advice of that. But it's not. But look, the second half really, really evens up. 4 goals for the Saints in the second and 4 in the third for the Giants. And another 5 goals, 2 for Skull Festival for this game. And St Kilda really feel like, yes, they're not playing finals, but I think they've got a great team. And I'm hoping he does play September. Let's win the St Kilda apprenticeship because they earn it. If St Kilda has that time at Marble Stadium when St Kilda absolutely put on a clinic against Fremantle Dockers, times and times they just couldn't get over the line. That could be playing St Kilda at finals action. St Kilda, and they finished overall on 12th. So they're in that low range, and I've definitely put them in that mix this year in that position. So getting back to this game of the look, I can't say too much to give it all moving. Play the game to make it all very, very simple. Well, it would be very, very, very hard to pick a player who I think dominated overall, which it's going to be, it's such a hard choice to pick, and I'm overthinking. Look, Lockie Wakefield, let's give it to him. He's include 31 disposals, 7 marks, 6 tackles, 129 April fantasy, 78% for defensive half, 22% forward half, included that 2 score involvements. Where's nice gold, 544 metres game, and yeah, well done to Lockie Wakefield from the GWS Giant Star. So all the best to the Saints and in the off season, and well done to GWS Giant as well. Aidan, I'll let you take it away.
All right, thank you. GWS versus St Kilda. GWS 15-14 108, St Kilda 14-9 93. GWS still winners here by 11 points, and it was not an easy 11 points at all. GWS ran the first quarter and hit to the midway point of the second quarter, where St Kilda came back and kept it very, very tight in the second half. Scoreworm going up and down all over the place, but GWS in the end just holding on enough to get over the line against the Saints. So this is a big win for GWS. GWS versus St Kilda, always one of the games to look at on the schedule because these two teams will always play a great game against each other. They do it again here, but for GWS, this win is just, okay, they're in finals now. They got finals. They're set up for finals. This now not only sets them up for finals and gets them in, but it positions them really well to be able to go and take some scalps. Like, hey, they finished second 4, but they're a very good team. When they switch on and they play well, they are very dangerous. If I'm looking for an outsider for the premiership who's not in the top 4, I'm taking GWS because that's how good they can be when they switch on and get dangerous. The Orange Tsunami starts to roll. Look out. St Kilda, unfortunately for you guys, it's another loss to end the year. A bit of a trend there, just falling away on that last week. I mean, you weren't playing for anything, but still, it would have been nice to come off with a win, but you don't. You've got next year, you've re-signed Nash, though, so that's a big step. You've re-signed Nash, you're looking at some other players as well. You've got options. And I think if you can get most of the guys on your shopping list, you're going to be dangerous. If you can get this guy and this guy and this guy that you're talking about, I'm not going to say any names, but if you get the guys that you're talking about, you're going to be right in position for next year and season 2027. But one thing I would say for St Kilda going forward is I just can't see, and I know he's got the full confidence of the club. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I can't see Ross Lyon being the guy to push you forwards. I think Ross Lyon's a great coach, but right now he's a coach who's going to hold station. He's going to get you, good, consistent football, but you're not going to be pushing any boundaries to break into the 8 with Ross Lyon around, unfortunately. We'll get to my player of the game now. And Ben, as you said, Lockie Whitfield, player of the game, 129 AFL fantasy, 31 touches, 23 kicks, 8 handballs, 7 marks, and 6 tackles for Lockie Whitfield.
Okay, now when you're ready, Aidan, this is a game that no one saw this absolute coming. I think Fremantle will have better field Bulldogs, but the talent of forward versus the team that I think is not the greatest defence, but it's definitely not the best defence at all in the AFL. But I'll let you share this game, and we do return for the final time at Marble Stadium. Western Bulldogs versus Fremantle Duckheads.
All right, now Western Bulldogs all week, and I was in on this too, was talking about it's Caesar's last game, their mascots. They got a real bulldog as their mascot, along with their cartoon character mascot. It was his last game, and they were going, "Oh, wait, do it for him, do it for him, do it for him." Well, guess what? You didn't. You lost. Final scores here: Western Bulldogs 14-13, 97, Fremantle 7-10, 112. Fremantle just outclassed them at the start of the game and never looked back. This is plain and simple. It was, I looked at it a bit later on in the afternoon, and I'm like, Freya's already up 20 points here, and they pretty much held that line all game. They did not need to do anything stupid, didn't need to do anything crazy. It was a smart, safe win to get themselves into finals. And they played against a team who are specialists at these round 23, round 24 smart, safe wins to get themselves into finals. Now, Western Bulldogs probably going to be sitting back, licking their wounds right now. Couple of games got away. I can definitely think of the Geelong game down at Kardinia Park that got away from them. Probably a few others in there as well that they're probably going to be rowing that, that's 4 points off the board for each of those that they lose. But that's football, and that's life. And Freo, this was an elimination final for an elimination final, and Freo the better team on the day. They didn't. Everyone said the Doggies were going to win because we know what Freo are like in this situation. They choke hard, but they played a great game and they stood up to the situation and they won. The right team on the day won that game. Fremantle Dockers played brilliantly. My player of the game is going to not be one player, it's going to be three. The three key forwards for Freo. So Amos, Ross, and Tracy all kicked 3 goals each in that win. So that's a very good spread. When your key forwards have a spread of 9 goals between them, and all of them are, exactly on the same score, 3-1 for each of them, that is perfect key forwardness in football. That's what Freo need to do if they're going to be in the mix in September, is get all 3 key forwards activated early, get them playing in a way that they like to. Tracy, the stronger one, Voss, the more agile, athletic one, and Amos, the leading option. So get all of them working in roles that they're comfortable in, and this team could go a long way. So, as I said, player of the game is the 3 keys for Fremantle: Amos, Tracy, and Patrick Voss.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, continue on to the crowd attendance for the really packed house, 44,000 plus 069, 17 4 10 112, 14 13 97. Now, Western Bulldogs. Wow. You wanted to win this game, to have a better percentage, to come into this game and lost. You blew it. Be proud that Gold Coast could even knock themselves out. Very silly. Now, Fremantle, this is the country road, get the win. So I'm going to call it big road to country win. You did it. You took on the wolves of the Bulldogs of the blue, white, and red and got the job done. Yes, yes, yes. And the purple, white, I hope you were at Marble more than the Doggies because you barked them out all September. You did it. You did it. Be proud. You, since that loss against Brisbane, you took on a team that want to play finals ahead of you, and you did it. You're ahead of them. You're 4 points ahead. That's it. All you need to win 4 points. The 4 points to win, on 22 points. To win the game. You win by 1 point, you're safe. So you draw. You won it. So be proud of what you've done and be proud of your achievements. All the best for the final series. I can't say much. I'm really looking forward to seeing this game over and done with for Gold Coast and Essendon. We shared that before. But get together, Bulldogs. I know season's not is now done, but it lost and it cost you massively. All the best for the final game between the Suns and the Dons. Anyway, play the game. Yet look, they're making it short. Jay Amos and all the 3 key forwards I would like to include, but Amos from Fremantle Dockers forward included 10 disposals, 5 marks, 3 tackles, 3 goals, 75 AFL offensively, 10% defensive halves, 90% all that went to 4 score involvements, and a well done to Amos from the Fremantle forward, and all the other forwards kicked 3 goals, as Ada mentioned, as well. Okay, I don't know where this year's been already, Aiden, but we made it to the final game, and we have a little bit of time to share the previews of the first 2 games, but we can do that top 8. We know who's playing who. We can do our reviews if you want to. If my technology of I want that. Thank you. So, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. So, the final game. I don't know. Oh, I'll just take it away, and Aidan, I'll let you. Do you want to go first? I don't mind. Okay,
I
Aidan.
was about to steal the microphone
Yeah.
off him anyway, but
Yeah, that's all right. Take it away.
final game of 2025. We finally made it. Brisbane and Hawthorn from the Gabba. Brisbane played a very how can I put this? Interesting forward approach for this game. They kicked 11-23, 89. Yes. 11 goals, 23, 89. Hawthorn 11-13, 79. So this is going to be one where the goals, because we just throw the goals out the window. Each team 11 goals each. Brisbane first quarter, 8 points. No goals, just 8 points. And we can see where this is going already. Second quarter for Brisbane, 2 points with 6 goals. Third quarter for Brisbane, 9 points with 2 goals. Final quarter for Brisbane, 4 points with 3 goals. Yep, that is right. I am counting the points more than the goals in this one. That is absolutely disgusting to see a top 4 team just throw it up and hope and kick 23 points out of your 34 scoring registered scores. Please don't do that in the finals. I will come to Brisbane and I will come after you myself. If I see you 11-23 in the grand final, I will come to Brisbane and I will steal the trophy off of you because you do not deserve it. Hawthorn, on the other hand, probably deserved this more than you. 24 scoring shots, only 11-13 for them. So Brisbane, you won because you held Hawthorn out of scoring. Bravo. You didn't do anything yourself. You missed a lot. The only reason you won was because you had 10 more points than the other team. And I'm not talking about total score. I'm talking about just the 1 point efforts. If that's what makes you feel good about yourself and get ready for finals, then so be it. Bravo. Do what you want to do. I am not going to take that from you. You need to be better for finals. You need to be kicking at least an even or closer to even percentage than that. If you're going to have 34 scoring shots in the finals, you need to be kicking at least 20 goals. That is the bar. 20 goals on 34 scoring shots. Can you do that for me? I think you can. Hawthorn, again, 11-13. Brisbane just defensively held them out of scoring. So that's how they got the win. Well done, Brisbane. Hawthorn, you're already in the finals. Well done to you as well. My player of the game for this one is going to be, and I won't give it to anyone from any team who has more than a couple of points. I'm going to give it to someone who kicked a few goals. I'm going to give it to Hugh McCoggage. He kicked 2 goals, 133 AFL fantasy, 2 goals, 32 touches, 16 kicks, 16 handballs, 7 marks, and 4 tackles.
Back kicking, back scoring. Well, can I say it is? Okay. Now, yes, absolutely. Why would you want to get floored from 32 scoring shots, 11-23, 89, back kicking, back scoring? It's not even raining. It's not windy. It's not Melbourne. It's Queensland. What is that? The worst under Chris Fagan. Now, we have well done to Brisbane, finishing third. Yes, travel to Melbourne. We were having a thing about going to Geelong. I think, yes, they should. Because Adelaide hosts games in Adelaide. Geelong hosts games in Geelong. Same with West Coast Fremantle in Perth. So why not? It's like Collingwood hosting games at Victoria Park. And that's being a bit of smart ass because that's where the home base is. So Hawthorn, well done to Brisbane on the win. I just want to say that first part. And Hawthorn, went to Japan Sunday night football and really took on against Brisbane. And I think it's shown that, it shows me that, well done playing finals, but you are on the road and you'll verse whoever's in 7th and 8th. If Gold Coast win by 30 plus points, that's where it all begins. But I have a feeling that 7th place will be Hawthorn, and we're playing against, I will not tell you back in my head, but I'm not going to say too. I'm going to wrap it up. Look, player of the game, Josh Dunkley from Brisbane midfielder, 33 disposals, 9 marks and 8 tackles. So almost double there overall with 136 for Fan City, 55% defensive half, 45% forward half, 1 goal assist, 9 score involvement, 23 centre bounce attenders. And we have a meter of, so we're a bit stuck here with 9 score involvement, 23 centre bounce attenders, and 5 clearances. Well done, Josh Dunkley from the Brisbane midfielder. All right, we have done a result and all done. I'm going to say this right now. What a huge game for the Gold Coast Suns Footy Club. Back at home at People's First. Take on Essendon Bombers. Making it short. Gold Coast by 25 points. And that's all I'm going to say right there. Aiden, what's your thoughts of the preview of the Gold Coast and the Essendon Bombers?
Yeah, I think the Gold Coast should win this. They've got to win this. They're going to win, as you said, 25 points. I'm going to take that one too.
Awesome. So that's pretty good. So, coming into previews now, we know. Oh wow! I want to talk about the knockout finals first, and they're not on the AFL app. Unfortunately, they need to wake up AFL and get them spots together.
I believe this might be a situation where the elimination finals aren't officially confirmed. Therefore, we don't have them. We do have the qualifying finals. We just don't know the elimination finals. As we said, if Gold Coast win by more than 5 goals, they jump Hawthorn. If they win, they jump Doggies. If they lose, then they stay out.
Yeah.
So we do know the hosts will be GWS and Fremantle.
Yeah.
Just who they play, we still don't know.
Yeah.
So what we have for the first round of the finals is in the qualifying finals. First place Adelaide playing 4th place Collingwood at Adelaide Oval. Second place Geelong playing 3rd place Brisbane at the MCG. Then we have 5th place GWS. Sorry, 5th place GWS. Yeah, 5th place GWS hosting and it will be at NG Stadium, hosting the 8th place team, and 6th place Fremantle hosting the 7th place team, most likely right now to be Hawthorn. With that said, things can change. Things are going to change. We at least know who the matchups could be in the elimination finals, but we are waiting on the result of Gold Coast for that one.
Yeah, so I just want to, before we get to the LA Collingwood game, I really think the Geelong Cats, they should be hosting this game in Geelong, but between Geelong and Brisbane dominate. They find ways to win, and they have Geelong are struggling against Brisbane. And look out, another classic final series. This is not to the grand final. This is to make to the pre-final. Who will host it? And I'm looking forward to that. So I hope you make a cracking classic game and hope to watch that. That will be on the Friday night. And I'm really looking forward to watching that one. But the Adelaide and Collingwood game, Thursday night, I'm hoping it will be 54,000. It can't be any more than that. Very similar crowd than a few weeks back on the Saturday night. I got that correct. But it will be a different kind of game. It will be oh my goodness. I'm not totally confident with game, but I'm so glad it is Thursday because this is the hottest ticket in town, and I can say it. Adelaide, I know one of the key main midfielder forward stars should be playing, but look, it's like another injury. Western Bulldogs didn't have Rob Murphy. There's other stars didn't have them in the midfield or in, big outs. So I really think LA should take them on quite well. It won't be a blowout. I think it'll be a pretty even game, but hopefully that LA will, play their football, and that's all I want them to focus on. With Geelong and Brisbane, that should be close as well. So hopefully we can have 2 close games of these 2 final series. So all right. So, oh my goodness, there's no preview. And look, the other 4 teams were sorting it out, but well done to the winning teams who make the finals and that earn. We're waiting for one team, which is betraying.
It'll either be Gold Coast or Doggies. Hawthorn being 7th means that even if Gold Coast get the percentage, that Hawthorn can only fall to 8th. So that second elimination final, or the most likely the 5v8 game will either be GWS versus Doggies, which would be a cracker because those 2 teams genuinely hate each other, or GWS versus Gold Coast, which would be I'm going to call it now, GWS versus Gold Coast, the expansion final.
Interesting to say that. But anyway, moving from finals, stay tuned. Now, as we reach to the 2025 Big Joe Show awards show, now this is not a show to be missed. And Aiden and I have decided, and this is behind the scenes, that we decided to do our own. And from player, coach, mark, goal, and all Australian two-time teams, brand new. First time ever, not just saying that, but actually including a mother Australian, because there's so many, who deserve to be in the team, and there's some surprises to come. We also can't wait. The BJ Show 2025 winner, Footy, well, the top three winners. We can't just have one winner. We have to have the top three, like a third, fourth, second, and first. No prize money, but every day will be the future in 2026. But thank you for joining the BJ Show for this giving competition, and hopefully you'll join again next year. Stay tuned as we finish off the 2025 SANFL into the final series and all grades, including just mainly the reserves and the league. We're hopefully down the 16s and 18s will be joining that. We've got the international agenda proposed by Aidan Barry, so stay tuned for that. Our classic was the top 8 BJs overall of the AFL ladder, and as well the 2025 AFL season with the results and previews, which we are in round 2 results already, and as well previews round 3. And one more thing I've had to tell you, the Australian Sport Edition show and the live action of the Crows and the Cats AFLW. What a game that was. It was warm down, it was actually quite cool, but it was just perfect game of football down at Thomas Farms Oval, which is in Ungley, non-Ungley Oval, the outside of the LA City. So look, we have big episodes, and that's what we've just been sharing. But the big one is the awards show, and I'm pretty nervous what Aiden's going to be, because sometimes he reads my mind at most terms. And kindness with you, that's all right. We all have our minds set from that. But thank you again, Aiden, for coming on today's show, as always.
That's all right. So finals coming up. We will be still here for finals, so look forward to that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, forgot one more thing. That's exactly point as well, Aiden. We're not going to, even we finish our, our season and all that, we've got the Brownlow medal coming through. That is the main AFL one and the SANFL one. You know what that means. But it's all about this show. It's the BJ. It's our own version. And we're not doing countdown votes or that. We're doing a straight top 3 nominees. Well, that's what I'm going to be doing. It's up to you what you're doing, Aiden, because it's our own version of it. So, we'll create our own versions of it, and I can't wait. Yeah, but thank you so much today's show, and we'll see you all very soon. It's we're having the Bowling Update Weekly League live from Crossroads to the end of Term 3 in Adelaide, South Australia, as the second year has come to almost an end. We've got a few more months of union school and all that, but working in general goes on, depending on the job and stuff. But anyway, thank you so much. All out. Bye for now. BJ Show's out. Peace.